I don't know why I sat down and watched Big Little Lies, because it was so triggering. My sister watched it, my other sister watched it, and I somehow thought, oh, it's a great show. It's well produced. I will probably like it too. Oh my God. I had a love-hate relationship with it because it was so triggering. Welcome to Spirit Soul Sense, information for your soul. I am Shareece, and I was in an abusive relationship. It was never physically abusive. It was more verbal and emotional abuse. And the show Big Little Lies, it just, if you don't like spoilers, now is the time to click away. Although the show has been out like 2 years or something. So everything that I say, you will probably know already because you've seen it or you've seen it on social media. I just want to talk about Celeste and Perry from the show because they were the ones in the abusive relationship. And I think this show, very exquisite acting. The producing of it was so realistic, and I felt it so much. It was a lot. It was overwhelming. I binged it in like 3 days, and I really am not the person to binge watch shows. And these was like hour episode shows, and I couldn't look away. I was there and I was engrossed. And so I think like the end of season 1 leading up to season 2, like at least 3 episodes, I was crying nonstop. I was unconsolable. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so bothered. I was so overwhelmed because it really hit home. So even though I was never in a physically abusive relationship, abusive relationships follow the same cycle. And at the core, this relationship just was my relationship. This is what my relationship was like. When Celeste was talking about power dynamics, and sometimes her husband had the power and sometimes she had the power, it's definitely a cycle of power and control. And the thing I really loved about this show and the demonstration of it, because it was so realistic, is that you got to see that Celeste was sick. Like Celeste really had some issues. It's not just the person who is doing the most abuse. In most cases, it's the man, the person with the most masculine energy, who is typically the aggressor, the person hitting or landing the most insults. But the other person as well is staying in it and is engaging in it. And you could see Celeste would trigger him. She would say things on purpose to get a rise out of him because she was unwell as well. I think the show, season 1, it doesn't cover a full year, right? But I think it covers the climax of the ending of their relationship. I don't think previous to what was displayed on the show that Celeste ever got so close to almost being killed by her husband. Like, I think that was a frightening thing for her. The fact that they were in therapy. And I know, so like in the book Women Who Love Too Much, that I love, that changed my life, that I have a whole other video about, she talks about how you don't have to leave the relationship. Take the pressure off from leaving the relationship. I think it was great. Celeste's therapist, she was supposed to be a couples therapist. And as a therapist, there are concerns about seeing one person from the couple individually. But this idea that you need to have a plan for what you're going to do the next time he hits you versus you need to leave now, right? I really like the way her therapist set it up, that there are stages that you're going to have to go through, things you're going to have to think through so that you have options if you do decide to leave. Thinking about, I think her therapist maybe was a little bit too pushy on the leaving, but the highlighting that he could kill you, that even though he's never hit the kids before, that he might, like you don't know, like you're talking about how great he is as a father. But because abusive relationships are so, they are so high and then they go so low. I never had aggressive, violent sex with my ex, but I understood the way that sex played a role in their relationship. They had great sex. they had, I think, fulfilling sex. It helped meet their need for whatever, impulse they had at the time. Similarly, in my own past relationship, the sex was mind-blowing all the time. It was great. It usually came after an argument. So it just helped to fuel the relationship, the cycle of abuse. And then the way the show highlighted all the good things about Perry. It was like heartbreaking, right? Here's this man with all these issues who agreed to go to therapy, who constantly apologizes for his behavior, tries to make it up to her, is an excellent father. I mean, hitting your wife, hitting the mother of your children, maybe doesn't really make you an excellent father, but he was attentive and engaging with his kids, and loved them, right? Appeared to love them. I would call what Celeste and Perry, I wouldn't call what Celeste and Perry had love. I understand there is a dynamic, like there is a piece of love and care and admiration for the other person that is there. But overall, when you look at the whole relationship, this is not a relationship of love. This is not a relationship of care. This is pain. This is anger. It's just, you don't hit people you love. Like that's not what you do in a relationship. That is a signal that it's been marred by so many problems and so many issues, and it's something toxic that I want to say you get out of, but it's not about getting out of it. It's about figuring out what role you play in the relationship, because you play a role and you are playing a toxic role. You cannot have a toxic relationship if there's only one toxic person. The relationship will not last. You need two toxic people to have a toxic relationship. And that is what we saw with Celeste, because even after her husband died, she was engaging in very problematic behavior with drugs, with men, numbing herself because she had issues. Like, we all have issues, but some people have issues, okay? And so it was really great to see her transformation in acknowledging that I have problems and I'm ready to deal with them. I really appreciated that. I want to thank the creators of the show for highlighting something like that. I imagine there were different aspects of the show that were triggering for other people, like the rape scene that they kept replaying. I've never been anywhere close to having an experience like that, so it really wasn't triggering for me. The lying, I'm very particular about the kind of shows I watch, so I felt like I was supposed to watch this show because titles like Big Little Lies, I'm repelled. I'm repelled from shows that are based on lies because I don't like lying. I don't like pretending. I don't like false, like anything. I'm just really not into it. But the show was amazing. Do not watch it. If you're like in the middle of something like this, maybe not. And maybe I'm too late because this is years after the show has premiered. But I just want you to see in this show, if you ever do watch it, this is a very, very good representation of an abusive, toxic relationship and how both people play a role in keeping it going. It's just really sad. If you want some tips on how to end a relationship, you can check out some of my other videos on abusive relationships. And thank you for watching.